I left the trading career I had for more than 10 years and spent 5 years being free. But now I'm back to trading. And it's not because I ran out of money. And it's definitely not because I missed the work. It's because of a math problem I couldn't solve. I was lying in my camper van, day 11 of being sick. And when you are sick in a van, everything that's normally fine becomes a lot. The outdoor shower, the toilet you have to empty, filling the water tank, figuring out where to park tonight. When you are healthy, that's just part of the life. I mean, the van life. When you are sick, those things are more than you have energy for. And that's when I had this thought, I can do this now. I'm in my 40s. I will get through it. But what about when I'm 70? Will I still be happy being homeless, living in a van? Because up to that point, I had left my career in trading that I had done for more than 10 years. I had proved I could live on almost nothing. And I had spent over 5 years doing whatever I wanted. I was happy. I really was. But I'm back at trading now. I wasn't broke, and I definitely wasn't bored. But I couldn't shake this fear. For a long time, the life just worked. I was skiing, I was meeting interesting people. My life was simple but full. I didn't miss the career. I didn't miss the money. I really didn't. But then things started happening. That 2 weeks sick in the van, that was one. Another time, the back window of the van just shattered. Nothing hit it. I think the pressure built up inside and the glass couldn't take it. I'm 300 miles away from the nearest Mercedes dealer. So now I'm just living with a hole in the back of the van, right where the bed is. And then it starts raining in the desert for 3 days. And I love this life. I still do. But those moments make you really think about the choices you've made. Because I can handle this at 40-something, but what happens when I'm sick and I'm 70? When I don't want to sleep in a van anymore? When I just want to go home, a home with a door and a roof that doesn't leak? And there's this other thing. When I left, my plan was to live in Costa Rica. A few thousand a month goes a long way there. But I fell in love with teaching skiing. So now I'm in Vail. And Vail is not Costa Rica. That budget doesn't go very far at all. The life in Vail as a pro ski instructor is still pretty nice. I get to travel as much as I want in the summer, and I get to ski every day in the winter. So I don't regret walking away from my trading career. But the biggest trouble of being poor, or rather not wealthy, in Vail is housing. In most cities, you find a place that's available for rent and you send an application, and as long as you have good credit and you are happy with the price, you move in. But in Vail, it's like getting a job. You apply for rent and the landlord interviews a bunch of applicants and pick whoever they like the most. When I first moved here, I applied for 15 rental units and heard back from only 5. So I went to meet all of them and got a rental offer from only one. I have over 800 credit score, and it was still that hard to find a place to rent. And most places don't allow pets. Pets are for homeowners only. Now I have a camper van that I travel full-time with, but you can't camp overnight in Vail in winter, so I still need a place to stay. But more importantly, If I want to rent a place when I'm older, I might not be able to get one. Finding a job is easier than finding housing here. So I realized I need to buy a house and somehow fully pay the mortgage if I want to have a real life in Vail, since I won't be able to afford a mortgage on a ski instructor's income. But here in Vail Valley, 700,000 gives you a 50-year-old moldy third floor walk-up. And when I left the trading floor, I didn't even budget for that. I was in big trouble. So I thought about it. I pulled up one of those retirement planners. You know, the ones where you put in what you have, what you think you will spend, inflation, market returns, all of that. And it spits out a chart of how much money you will have at every age. Like here is you at 60, here is you at 90. And it showed me two pictures on the same screen. In one, I'm broke at 81. And in the other, the median, the more likely outcome, I die with over $2 million I never touched. I'm not talking about dying with millions with a great market return. I'm talking about dying with millions in the median return, kind of the middle ground estimate of how much I will die with. But even with that budget, there is a chance I will be completely broke at 81. So either I run out of money in the middle of my retirement or I die sitting on a pile of it. And those are with the same spending assumptions. And I didn't want either of those lives. I didn't want to work my best years away to die rich. But I didn't want to be 81 and completely broke either. That's when I realized this wasn't a math problem I could solve. There were one too many unknowns. That's why I couldn't figure it out. You know that thing, the circular reference in Excel? You can solve the math if a formula refers to another number that refers back to it. It was like that. How much money I need depends on how long I'm going to live. But how much of my life I'm willing to give up for money depends on how much money I need. It just goes back and forth. It doesn't resolve. And the spending part, I can work with that. I can choose to live smaller, move somewhere cheaper. That part is in my hands. But how long I'm going to live, that's not in my hands at all. So the equation just stays open. And I think that's what a lot of us are struggling with. We are trying to plan our whole lives around a number we will never know. And then you add this. I just turned 50, and some of my friends and their spouses are getting cancer diagnosis. Some had strokes. Some of them are gone. The news always comes sudden. And it could just as easily be me. So now, it's not just a math problem. It's, do I keep giving up my good years for a version of me who might never show up? Or do I stop too early and leave her with very little when she might need more? Here is what I decide to do. It might not be the right answer for everyone, but it helped me break that circular reference thing. I stopped trying to solve for how long I'm going to live. So I just picked a number. Not the age I think I'm going to die, the age where after this point, the chances of me still being here drop off significantly, that I'm not willing to give up my good years for it. For me, that was 85. And if I make it past 85, Social Security and a small annuity will cover the basics. I can just pay like 25 grand now once to get $3,000 every month from 85 until I die. Pretty cheap for insurance against accidentally living too long. It won't be a lot, but combined with the Social Security, it will be enough, and I'm okay with that. That's why I'm back to trading. I need a little more to pay for 70-something me, who might need a little more than van life. But I'm not working forever to keep an extravagant lifestyle until 97, like what most financial advisors recommend. So I need to work for a few more years, but after tasting real freedom, it's not easy to go back to 9 to 5 and be content. So what do you do if you still have to work, but this is not the life you want to build anymore? That's what I'm trying to figure out now. I'm going to share that with you in the next video.